Over my many years of being on this planet, well, I could say I've collected stuff. And when I say stuff, I mean toys. I've collected many, many toys over the years. I've always had a place to display a lot of my toys. In the new place here, a lot of the stuff has just found its way in boxes, and it's really been time for me to make a case so I can start displaying these toys. So, because it's so hot outside, and I don't feel like welding on the Z right now because of the extreme heat, we're in the shop where it's nice and cool, and we are going to build a case. So, welcome to Z-Wing's Workshop, and let me show you what we're going to end up doing here. All right, everybody has probably seen the Cars movie. You may or may not know that I'm a racing fan. I was always a Tony Stewart fan. I got a Tony Stewart thing going up over here. So what we're going to build today is a case. And it's not going to hold, I'm not exactly sure what's going to go in the case right now, but it's going to kind of look like the logo. And let me show you. If you've seen the Cars logo from the movie, it kind of has this shape. The Stewart-Haas logo also has this shape, even though the team is no longer around. So that's kind of what we're going to build. And we're going to have a flat bottom. So obviously going to be covered. And then we're going to have an intermediate shelf in the middle. And that's about it. We're looking at going about, say, 23, 24 inches tall and about 8 feet wide. And I'm making it that, and it'll probably be about 10 inches deep. And I'm saying that because this is the scrap lumber that I had laying around. It's all half-inch stock. Got an 8-foot piece here. These pieces are a little bit shorter. This piece also is 8 feet. It's a little bit narrower, so that'll be good for the intermediate shelf. And then I have this stuff. This is a window stop stuff that I milled up a long time ago. We ended up not using it. I had to make different stops. So instead of throwing this away, because I hoard, I saved it. And actually, it'll work perfect for this project. That piece in the back that I'm pointing at right now, or at least you can see right there, that is 8 feet wide, about 23 inches tall, 1/4 inch ply. That'll be perfect for the backer. This is going to go in my office above the TV and all this and that. But let me go rip this up. I'm not going to actually show you the ripping. You guys have seen me cut sheets before. All right, so I decided not to show you a lot of the head scratching as far as me figuring out the dimensions, or at least the angles. But I have decided on what I have, and I already kind of rough cut these. These two wings are equal length. The centerpiece is whatever that piece was. I just squared it up, made sure it was good. Where the tape is, there's about a 5-degree angle. And as you can see, it's going to make that kind of a curvy bend. This bottom piece, this was the longest piece, so we're going to leave this pretty much where it's at. Obviously, we need a flat floor for the bottom. And then I decided, I don't know if you can see the pencil line here, well, I've decided on doing a 15-degree angle. I think that works out really well. Because this is going to be the top of the unit, obviously. I'm going to have to make kind of like a little bridge that's going to connect this. So the top of this doesn't really need to even look beautiful. You'll never see it. The dust bunnies will, but nobody else is going to see it. So let me make those pieces. And again, I'm looking at just making like a thick piece, and I'm going to find some scrap wood I have somewhere. Put the little 5-degree angles on them. And, even if it's in 6 to 8 inches, a full piece, 6 to 8 inches, do one for both sides, face, and then against the wall, and that should work out. I just want to kind of give you an update on what's been happening here. So I made these guys, which kind of bridged. I glued them, stapled them. I ended up cutting like little 5-degree wedges because I put a 5-degree bevel on this, like we were talking about, or an angle, I should say. I ended up cutting up a couple pieces. I know I didn't show you. Was hanging out with some friends and couldn't use the phone, actually, so just kind of how it works. Then I got this guy kind of set up like that, and it's glued. It's dried. So next step is, you can see I already cut the one side. I've got the other side right there for here. I am going to leave this piece long, and then I'm going to go back over a little later and hit it with a router and to trim it smooth. But here is the bottom piece. Same thing. I already routed the little edge into it, as you can see, and that's going to hang right onto here. I'm going to get this all glued up, stapled. I'll show you what we got going on here. I'll probably put you on the camera here, or on the stand, and you can see me kind of assemble this thing. Now that the basic shape is made, and again, I'm probably going to add a little bit of a rim here. I still don't 100% know what I'm going to do with the exterior, especially too, we're going to have some edge grain that's going to be somewhat visible. This little piece is visible. This I might just patch and paint up in here. I still don't even know if I'm going to paint it or stain it, but everything's here. The shelf is nice and straight. I am going to eventually cut the middle shelf, and I'm actually debating on how I want to do the middle shelf. I may actually just leave it wide open, and I'll just make like some stands that'll sit in place, because some of the stuff I have is maybe taller, so I kind of want that flexibility, and actually not having anything mounted to this would be fine. But the rim down on the bottom, and then the rim that I have now on the top, that's how I'm going to fasten it to the wall. So it should work out just fine. But like I say, I'm going to let it sit overnight. Then I'll come back with the flush trim router, and I'm just going to route all this stuff out of here. That way we have the shape. Then that's the very basic thing. I may actually clean it up and then prime it as well. I think I'm going to paint it. So I'm still debating. But yeah, this is the basic shape of it. And then we'll get to the exterior pieces, which... like I said, I have a pretty cool idea for it. I just don't 100% know how I'm going to do it. All right, so the back panel's installed. It's all dry, ready to go. I've got these 45 cutoffs. Whoops. Oh, and if you hear stuff in the background, it's that pizza guy. And he's trying to do some home improvements. If anybody knows him, I'd be more than willing to give him a hand with what he's doing. I know he's still in Illinois, so... And we both have Z's. I'd be willing to trade time with the guy. But anyway, let's get this going. We're going to throw a couple of these little 45s in here. This is going to be the underside, obviously, so it doesn't have to look beautiful. But I definitely want to get this thing painted. So I'm going to install these pieces. They're going to go on the leading edge here. And a lot of this stuff is going to catch the face frame that we're going to build. I'm probably even going to put something along here, so again, I gotta have something to catch the face frame. Once I go through and trim these out with the router, I'm gonna put something along here as well. And again, I still got like a little chunk block I'm gonna need to put on both ends, so that's gonna have to get done. And then we can move on to the face frame. I have decided I am gonna paint it. I did find some white primer, so I'm gonna get all these holes filled, everything sanded up. I'm not going to show you the whole filling and the sanding, but I'm going to turn on the camera. You can see me router all this good stuff, install some of these pieces, and then we'll spray it.
Yeah, I need a left-handed hammer to do this properly, I think. Maybe
I'm left-handed too. Chisel. They actually have left-handed hammers.
And left-handed baseballs.
All right, so we are getting ready for paint here. I kind of want to show you what I use. I go to the Benji Moore store, and I always buy this Aqua Lock. Obviously, you can't read it because, you know, it's drippy. Then I've got this sprayer. This is a Home Right sprayer, Finish Max Super. I use it for sealer. I use it for painting. I don't really paint often, but when I need it, this guy actually works really good. you take your Aqualock, and this is just primer. You dilute it with about 10% water, and you can do the same thing with your finish. I usually buy the cabinet trim paint over at Benji Moore, and this stuff sprays really, really good. Now you can see too, I've got the paint booth somewhat set up. I got my fans going, and my roll down screen to kind of keep some of the air out of the way. And we're basically going to hit this with the primer. Now, what I've done is I have gone through and patched some of the holes, but the primer now is really going to exaggerate some of the defects and maybe pinholes and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I'll go through, give it a prime, maybe even 2 coats, and then I'll go through. If I have to caulk some of the seams, I will. I have to maybe put a little bit more patch here and there. I'll go ahead and do that. But at least now, with it all being white, after I paint it with the primer, I'll be able to see what might need to be done. And again, this primer is really good. And if you ever buy it, if you ever try it, once you start sanding it, you're going to realize how awesome this stuff is, because it is a very durable, almost I would almost say it's like a candy coating from an M&M. It's tough and durable. Now we're not going to do the top section, obviously the inside, the sides, and the base. I'm not going to show it to you, but yeah, here we are in the paint room doing it. Here it is all finished. Like I said, the sprayer works pretty decent. And you will see that there are a couple little spots here and there, but not bad at all. And everything will get sanded out. Stuff like that, you know, I could caulk, which will be fine. There's some spots in here that'll be fine. Really, the bottom is, you're going to probably see the bottom more than anything. The sides are probably hardly going to be noticeable. Obviously, inside you're going to see. Now it's all completely dry now. I even sanded it. I have yet to air it out, but I definitely want to paint it before I put the face frame on. So let me show you my unconventional method, as always. This is the paint I'm going to use. Again, Benji Moore. It's the cabinet door trim paint. It's a satin finish, which is perfect. I'm too cheap to go buy more paint, and I don't want it white because I'm not necessarily a white guy. Well, I mean, white paint, that is. So what did I do? I went back to my fancy concrete dyes. Did a little test sample here, and you can see that it's definitely darker than the white. So it's got a little bit of blue, a little bit of black in it, and it kind of gives me that kind of bluish, grayish type of color. Will it spray streaky? I have no idea, but I'm going to go with it anyway, because why the hell not? Stuff that you'll see me do on this channel are not conventional in any way, shape, or form. Cheapness wins every time in this shop. All right, this stuff also gets water reduced. So what I did was I put the water in first, then a couple pieces of the stain. I didn't have much, so I threw a bunch in. Then I added the paint using a strainer. And it's kind of got a nice lightish, grayish blue color. And actually, I like it sitting in the can right now. So we're going to give that guy a spray, and we'll see what's going on. I got to fix some chairs too. All right, I got my mask on, so sorry if you can't hear me, but it sprays. Let's see what it does. It's not white, it's hard to see, but it sprayed pretty even. I'm not going to ruin my phone here, so let me finish spraying this. All right, well, how does it feel? How does it look? I'm digging it. It sprayed very nice, evenly. I'm going to continue to use what's ever left in there. I'll put as many coats on it as I need to. But yeah, it sprayed wonderful. And it's kind of got a grayish, bluish hue to it. So yeah, I'm digging it. Almost kind of reminds me of the Stuart Haas logo in a way. Whether or not you're here for my charming wit, or the fact that I do stuff very, very unconventional because of my cheapness, obviously concrete stain mixed with paint, it worked, and it works really good. Everything's still drying in the booth. Something else, though, that I love, and again, stuff you see on this channel is I do stuff way different than a lot of other people, and I try and I experiment and a lot of stuff. This stuff, if you've seen on the channel too, you know I love this stuff. And this is aluminum roll flashing, and it's ridiculously cheap, and it's easy to work with, and you could cut it with a utility knife, you can bend it simply. There's so many things you could do with this stuff, and I use it all over the house on so many different projects, and like I say, I love it. It's great stuff. I recommend every person in every shop should at least have a roll of aluminum flashing. The other cool thing about this stuff is, though, I use it a lot of times decoratively, and that's basically what we're going to make this face frame out of. I plan on bending a shape like this. This has got about a 1/2 inch. There's a fold over, and then you can see there's a little bitty tab on this. All this stuff is very easily to do with your fingers on the edge of the table saw. You can make a small break, or you could use a sharp piece of plywood as well. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. Then obviously we have this leftover stuff that I had, which you can see right there. This will most likely get painted black, and I have enough to go along the entire inside frame. So that's what's going to work. Now right now, you can see though, that tab gets pinched into, obviously, that little groove, and then it's going to get sandwiched with the 1/2 inch. This is actually, the dado is actually a 1/2 inch. Now, I have this set up like this right now because I'm going to determine how much of a squeeze, how much of a bubble kind of a shape do I want. And then I can tell how much I need to cut the plywood so I can make this face frame. But that's basically what I plan on doing. And sometimes this stuff does get scratched up. And I mean, I would love to keep it all the natural finished. But if for some reason I cannot, I can actually take a Scotch-Brite and I could start sanding. Basically, if I go like a linear sand out of it, it'll kind of brush it out. To me, that works good. I'll have to see how much scratches it gets on it. I mean, unfortunately, that is the nature of the beast. All right, so this is your typical Z-Wings workshop video. We got a second coat on here, drying away.
You're permitted to. Squirrel!
Working on some chairs. I got this chair clamped up, ready to go. And then Mom wanted me to stain this because she tried to paint it black, and the paint job looked like shit. So I stripped it and stained it. She's not going to use it for actual, you know, food prep. So, and I'm just going to recommend, if you got stuff you want black, don't paint it. If you get like the true black stain, it does a really, really nice job of blackening it up. Way better than black paint. It's not the best option, but it is another option, and it works really well. Over to here, I was able to kind of cut those pieces up. They're 4-inch. I got plenty of them. And I'd show you how the little bubble radius looks, but I can't seem to find the other piece of tin. How did I lose a small piece of tin? Let me look for it. So I've been looking for 10 minutes and this comes on. I came to dance, and it's not. It's Hanna-Barbera walking feet. So the search goes on and on and on. I decided to make another piece, and you know, by the time I finish this piece, I'll find it. It'll just show up. It'll be like behind my ear or something. All right, so everything's all nice and dry, and we're getting into the face frame. And I kind of want to show you, because we have a lot of fancy angles, obviously, that we don't really know what the angles are. I'm going to show you this little fancy tool that I have. This is actually my grandfather's, and it's basically what it's called is a sliding T-bevel square. And basically, you use it to find your angles. And this is kind of how it works. You kind of put it in place, add your angle, and then you tighten it down, and then it gives you your angle. Now, they sell these at the store, but if you don't want to go to the store for this one thing, although they are nice to have, you can easily make one out of a couple sticks of wood. And I just put a screw with a pivot. Obviously, you want to round over the corners. And then you could do this. Now, you can actually get like a, you know, you could put like a regular threaded nut and a wing nut or something to tighten it down. But a quick, easy way, especially to say you forgot it at home, I'm just using like a little clamp. All right, so whether you're using this template, which already moved on me, again, if you put a wing nut on it, you can figure it out. But if you use or just be a little bit tighter when you're doing it. But you can obviously set it up, score your line. It works out pretty good. You can make it out of really whatever blank stock you got left over. But here we go. So we've got this. Now we already know that that angle was cut at 10 degrees. So we already know it's 10 degrees less. So when I'm going to measure it here, and I'm using the speed square. Obviously, there's degrees on the speed square. That's how you use it. You put this point as your pivot, and you finger it out. And we know it's 10 degrees, which is where it is. But now we need to make the miter of this 10-degree angle. So basically, the miter's got to be there. So what is the actual miter? Now, we're not taking the half here. The half here, obviously, because we're basically now dealing with an 80-degree angle, because there's your 90. This is obviously 10 degrees less, so now it's an 80-degree angle. But that's not our miter. Middle is 40 degrees. Because of 80, if you split it, that's also not the miter, because we need to take this part off the square edge. So your actual miter is 50 degrees. So each one is 50. Now, unfortunately, my saw does not do 50. So if you saw last week's episode, or the diffuser episode, you would see that I got the sliding bevel. Set that guy up at 50. I made my cuts. And as you can see, we got everything lining up really good. So I got the two of them done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw some throw like a biscuit with my biscuit joiner into these joints. And then we're going to glue them. And then I'm basically going to make like a little cap. And I'm going to nail the cap onto it with the biscuit joint. And it's all going to get glued. That way, hopefully, it'll hold it together. And then once we set up this guy and that guy, then we could figure out what we need for the center here. All right, so with the corners done, I just went ahead and did this off camera. Oh, I've been doing a lot of this off camera, but we know this was only 5 degrees, so I went 2.5 degrees on basically both of these, and that's going to work. Obviously, you can see there's a little chunk missing off the top here. It's fine for the very, very top. I still need to manipulate these corners, and I don't want to put this all together just yet. So what I'm going to probably end up doing is I'm going to put the corners in, but I'm just going to screw them in place for right now, just to kind of hold it together. That way I can align everything, and then I can figure out the V for the very bottom here. So I've decided to say screw it to screwing it. And I clamped it. I actually did biscuit the little piece. I glued in the biscuit, and I did staple and glue on these pieces. And then I'm just using the clamps now to kind of hold it. I have the larger clamps for the side pieces. Everything is aligned now where I want it to be. So I'm going to take the longest piece that I have, which is an 8-footer, and I'm going to split it in half, and then I'm going to work to see what I want for the V. And a little bit of a change. I actually went upstairs and I measured. I wanted to keep it around 30 inches because I only have about 32 to 34 inch clear of the TV where I'm planning on mounting this. So I went with a 2.5 degree angle, which is basically what those are. And then I got it set up here. I kind of went with a decent round off number. That's a 24 inch mark off the corner, but it's going to be a little bit less. And then there's going to be a lip here, but that's all right, because I'm not overly worried about it, because I'm going to try and maybe put some lighting along the inside. These are flush, but remember, I'm still going to put a cap here. So that's pretty good. I'm going to give this guy a cut here, and then I'll biscuit these together, put a plate like I did on the other corners, and that'll work. So let me go through, do all that fun stuff, and then I'm going to put the inside trim in. And then I got to paint that inside trim. I still think I'm going to go black. Don't paint it. And as you can see, everything has been cut and painted black. I haven't installed it because I could get a staple from the underside, but I still got to kind of slip in the aluminum all the way around. Now you might be asking, why does it look like you destroyed a can of paint? Well, let me explain. The can kind of blew up on me. Well, that's not entirely true. The cap actually came off. I had to improvise. Well, that's not entirely true either, because that happened like 2 years ago. And I didn't feel like going to the store and buying more black paint, and I ran out of black paint, but this is the only thing I had. So what I did was, I took a cap from another paint thing I had, I drilled a hole, and made it work. But there was obviously some drippage.
Don't paint it.
So I basically put the can back in the cabinet with the rest of them. I mean, did you honestly think I was going to throw it away? I mean, did you just meet me or something? As for this, it's only going to get one coat. It's perfectly fine. It is now roll flashing time. Now, I need 7 pieces. I need 4 pieces at 48 inches. That's going to be for the 2 bottom V pieces, and then the 2 top pieces. And then I need the 2 sides, and they're going to be about 30 inches. So, I basically got my board set up. This was the 20-inch piece, and I'll show you how I cut it right now. You can use a square if you're, you know, that curious or that critical about it. But you just dig your knife into it. Give it a bend, and it's done. Super easy. All right, they're all cut. Man, I barely had enough. That's about maybe a 30-inch piece left over. I am definitely going to go buy more. So that means for me not to spend any money on this project, well, I didn't spend money on this, and I have spent money on the wood, but I'm going to have to be good, make sure I don't mess this up. I didn't want to keep moving this, so I'm doing one bend at a time. 6 have been bent, but again, I just want to kind of show you how easy this stuff is. Now, I do got a cut on my thumb here. It's not related to the aluminum. I swear to you. It was something I did yesterday with that chair. But anyway, you can see I'm just kind of giving it a little pressure. It probably helps if you wear gloves, but you know, I'm trying not to scratch it either. And even though I have pretty rough hands, it's still softer and it's not doing its thing. I kind of give it the kink first. And just kind of take it back and keep going a little bit. This one should be a full 90 for this first piece. And then we're going to step it in about a ½ an inch and then make the next 90. And actually, it's not even going to be a 90. It's just going to be a bit of a kink so we can get that arc. Obviously, we're not going to full 90 with this one. So I'm trying to get at least a good 45, maybe even a little bit more. But yeah, it's about... oh, it's probably the nicest one so far. Nice, good, clean. And like I say, once this thing gets radiused over, you'll see it'll make a nice kind of corner. Now, I did say this stuff is easy to bend, but that means it's easy to bend. And I don't know if you can see this little spot here. Fortunately, these are on the edge. I got another one up here that, you know, you got to take your time with it, and I obviously am not. All right, for the final bend, this is that same piece we've been working on. So far, it's been the best out of all of them. So I guess it's good to show you on camera, even though the other ones don't look nearly as good. I got the thing spaced. I just double check, make sure, because the way this was bent, it could change the line. I'll start in the middle, same thing. Just kind of give it a light tab. I'm only trying to take it over, again, about maybe not even 30 degrees or so. You should be thanking me for this voiceover right now, because as I was trying to kind of roll a curve in it with this closet rod that I hoarded and haven't even unwrapped yet, I was kinking it and it was making all kinds of funky noises. So yeah, there's that. Again, with the amount of busyness, even if there's a couple little spots that are a little rough, if there's a lot of roughness, then it's going to be uniform. So I could say I meant to make it that way. I started to cut some of these pieces. I'm going to go with the full long pieces first, and I'm going to kind of make them a slightly bigger with the angle, and then hopefully, this is obviously the first test piece, and both pieces are long enough so I can adjust if needed. But then I'll do obviously this piece, the 4 foot, then the other 4 foot, then the other 4 foot, then I'll do the 2 on the side, and then I'll get that top piece in. It's going to be tough, and I always kind of assumed it was going to be tough just because it's I don't want to flip it over because I don't want to damage this or scratch it, and I'm going to have to staple it from the bottom, so that means it's going to be a lot of bodily origami and backward stapling and other stuff. So the best remedy for me is to turn on some good music, which I already have going on right now, and figure this out and deal with the struggle. But in a way, that's kind of what it's going to kind of sort of somewhat-ish look like. if I can pull it off. I'll admit I don't always get everything right. As I'm doing this, and as difficult as it actually is, I'm realizing I'm going to probably fail. But it's okay, because it's an experiment after all. And I say this all the time, it is experimental what I do on this channel. There are definitely some wins in the experimental phase, but this face frame turned out to be a little bit difficult, and even as I go to install it, it got a little bit messed up in some areas. It's very large. For me to even get it into the room and mount it to the wall was slightly difficult. And a lot of this you're going to see later, and I'm going to show it off to you. But at the end of the day, I needed a place to put some stuff. And I believe I'm going to eventually rework my face frame and make a little bit, make it slightly different. You can definitely experiment, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just going to take a little time, and you might waste some material for it. But when you're like me and you have a bunch of extra spare material and you got some spare time, it's not that bad of a deal. Again, what you're going to learn is maybe what not to do. Thomas Edison once said, he has not failed. He just found 10,000 ways of how things don't work. And that's a very true statement. Well, it's a struggle. Not bad, though. I've been using the coffee can cups, which obviously I don't throw them away. Here's the first actual seam, and it's nothing. This side's not even stapled. But yeah, not bad at all. I mean, there's going to be an overlap, obviously, on all the seams. There might be a little bit of gaposis, but for the most part, it's coming out pretty good. I wish there wasn't a few ripples and whatnot in here, but it is what it is. If I do hit it with a Scotch-Brite and kind of dull it, I'll have to see how it looks completely when it's all done. But I think if I did hit it with the Scotch-Brite, it might get rid of, or at least kind of hide some of those ripples. But let me keep going. Jamming away. It's actually really hasn't taken me that long to get where I'm at right now. Again, these corners are going to be the double miter, which is going to be tricky. The top piece should be easy. That seam looks good. So far, so good. It's actually slightly working.
You sure about that?
So I didn't bother to record the ends because they took me a long time, and it would have been a waste of time because they're not turning out great. I mean, from 50 feet away, they look friggin' awesome. But when you're up close to them, they don't look awesome. I mean, the whole thing in general, I mean, it does kind of look pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I do kind of like the basic shape, and you know, you're probably thinking, hey, that does actually look kind of neat. It's not lost, because I could potentially, I thought about even throwing like a little band in here. Not like the band you may hear in the background. But the problem is, though, once you get to the back side, it opens it up, and it's kind of hard to wrap it around, make it look clean. Like I say, this one doesn't look bad. Especially to the way it's going to be sitting, you're not going to really notice the gap. This one, unfortunately, this is going to be the most visible corner. I got a little bit of weirdness going on here. There's the upper corner. And I mean, I would love to try to put pressure on it. The problem with this stuff is, too, you can't really glue it. Because if you glue it, you're actually, the glue kind of, it's almost like a mirror. It'll kind of ghost through the glue. So like, you know, if you were ever going to put this on the wall or whatever, you can't use any kind of adhesive whatsoever. It will ghost through it. There is an easy solution to fix some of these corners. It's probably not what a lot of people would expect, but that's a total cheat. Maybe. I did not do anything with the corners. I kind of tweaked them a little bit. I maybe threw a staple in here just to kind of tighten them up. I don't know what else to do. The top piece actually came out really decent and clean, so kind of happy with that. Now the thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to staple it. I'm going to use these little angles that I put on all throughout the whole thing, and I'm going to throw some staples in there. This way, if I decide I ever want to redo this face, and that's the beauty of this, it's just a face frame. If I want to redo the face frame, I can easily do that. If you're wondering where I placed this, well, right here. And yeah, it is pretty big for the room. I truly don't like the wood paneling in this room, and that'll eventually get changed at some point. But at least I have a case now where I can store some of my stuff. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go get some of my stuff and put it on in here. And here it is, kind of filled with some of the stuff I have. And you can see that I had some glass shelves and I was able to prop them up with other boxes of stuff. Now, unfortunately, I have quite a bit of stuff. And this is most of my Star Wars stuff, but I do have others. And you see there's an Iasca trophy back there. There's our Daytona 24 trophy. I got some Lego sets, monkey bobbleheads. This shelf is being held up by a couple of my game boxes. There's Manta from Mask. That's a 300ZX. My Dukes of Hazzard car carrying case. And yeah, I got the Confederate flag, but that's mainly because of the General Lee. And I got all kinds. I got the Bender up there. I got a Homer thing. These are some of the old Star Wars Lego sets. And a bunch of all cool stuff. Some of it's still in the packaging. Nothing is, I would say, pristine. You know, they come from a good smoke-free home. I would love to get my Knight Rider car in here somewhere, but I really don't have any room for it unless I were to put it in front of the Dukes of Hazzard, but then I got to find a spot for that. I would love to maybe get, I have another glass shelf, maybe to put it up here, but I'm kind of glad I didn't put the full shelf in the middle because, you know, that would have really killed some of the height, and obviously some of the pieces definitely need some height. But that's it for this project. It don't look bad. I'm not excitingly excited about some of the corners, but other than that, it's not bad, and it gives me a place to put my stuff. That is my case for collecting toys, and I have more cases to go. I actually want to put a case here where I put the diffuser, but that's going to be for another day, another time. I have about 70 die-cast cars that all need to find a home, and I actually have a lot more other stuff. I've got the Transformers still I need cases for, so stay tuned, and thanks for watching once again. Please like and comment and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Take it easy.